Sean, you watching the game?
Not a chance.
And welcome back to yet another Buffalo Bills pregame show. We thought we'd done our last this season, but we had so much reaction to our last video, so much positive response from everybody that we wanted a chance to react to you all. So thank you so much. By popular demand, we have Jared, Sean, and Dan. I'm Randy, and we're here to answer your responses to our last video. But tonight is the NFL Awards, so let's talk some quick NFL news.
And the AP Most Valuable Player presented by Invisalign is Josh Allen. Okay.
For me, it's really just exciting that, these last couple of years, we've even had someone to root for the MVP, because, growing up, I don't remember there ever being a time. I think Fred Jackson, 2011, he was like in the running, but that was like halfway through the season and then he tore his ACL. But other than that, it's always exciting when one of your guys is going for MVP.
Lamar's a great player. He had 9 Pro Bowlers. Bills had none around Josh. Josh is the only person ever to have a second team All Pro and no other ones around him. Okay. And especially at the quarterback position, like, that stat is where that is. And so to say that Josh is not deserving of that when he brought his team to the AFC Championship against one of the best teams, dynasties of all time, he beat 2 number 1 seeds by double-digit scores or more than one possession or whatever. Um,
Do I think Josh deserves it though? Yeah, because like, who is its most valuable player? Who's the most valuable player you need on your team to win a game? And I don't know. I would choose Josh over Lamar this year. Not to mention that's what they did for the. If Josh Allen would have gone to the Pro Bowl, Josh was named the starter. Lamar Jackson was third. So I don't see how the third string quarterback of the Pro Bowl gets the MVP. But yeah, I think it's all been said now.
Is this a quarterback's award? Is there a situation where it's a non-QB winning this in the near future?
I mean, no, it could go to Saquon Barkley. He did rush over 2,000 yards this year, but the problem is it's 17 games now, so like getting over 2,000 is not as hard as it was for OJ or anybody else who played 16 games.
Sean, do you feel it's a QB award going forward?
yeah, I do think we need, and I think we've already talked about adding an offensive lineman award. And or offensive lineman coach award. I think actually there's already offensive lineman award, but offensive coach lineman award, coach award. There needs to be a little bit more delineation with that. I know we have like offensive player of the year, and obviously quarterback touches the ball basically on every play, so it's always going to go to that. And I do think there needs to be a little bit better definition of what an MVP is, because when we started to look at it, it's saying like, it's the reason your team is winning, not best stats or not the wins or whatever. Like, can your team do it without you? And clearly, if you have an amazing quarterback like or running back like the Ravens do, one of the best in the last 10 years. I mean, are you really the MVP if you have that guy? I mean, we did the blocking schemes, and I know they have great receivers, but I mean they have a really good tight end and stuff like that. So it's like it's it needs to be the delineation because this is going to continue to happen, and it's a travesty.
All right. Last up, Dan, what do you think? Is this a quarterback's award for the near future at least?
Yeah, I think it definitely is a quarterback's award.
Personally, I don't have a lot of plans on Sunday. I got to work in the morning and I'm looking for something to do that afternoon. Not even the appeal of new commercials is going to get me to watch the Super Bowl. So, Jared, we'll start with you this one. Are you watching the big game this year?
Yep, I go to my aunt's every year to watch the game, and that's what I'm planning on doing this year. So, yeah, I'm going.
Sound excited. Sean, you watching the game?
Not a chance.
Yeah.
I hope there's a large portion of fans that boycott this because the only thing the NFL knows is money, and they've had increased ratings every year. I think last year was the highest, but they had a very large jump, and I think that was because of the Taylor Swift, fans wanting to watch that or whatever, like a Hallmark Channel movie, and I really do think that the NFL only knows money, and if you can drop their ratings and their advertising dollars by dropping the viewership, I think that's the best thing. So I'm gonna be going on a gondola ride and on purposely, and where I'm at now, and just gonna watch the scenery and just try to stay away from all of it. I just really think. I don't think I'm so numb to the NFL these days. When the Bills lost, I was so numb to it, and my whole entire childhood, I knew everything about all these players and blah blah blah. And I know Dan and all of us we're all like that. And I've just come so numb to it because of how like much these refs ruin the game. And I understand there's lots of close calls, but when you have a lot of non-procedural calls, close 50-50 calls, holding, offensive or pass interference or whatever, when those are 50-50 calls and the Chiefs in all their playoff games, I think it's like they've never had a time where another team has gotten as many penalties as them. That's not a coincidence. That's not coaching. That's bias. That is blatant bias and possibly some collusion by refs, in my opinion. Let's put our tinfoil hats on over here. But that cannot happen as many times as it has on non-procedural calls, which are 50-50 calls, and it's coaching. BS. That's not coaching.
It's what hurts the most is all the cutaways to the feed the Taylor Swift fans and the refs simultaneously
Yeah.
having the thumb on the scale. Like
Yeah.
those two things in unison just makes it feel so much more painful, which is why you and I aren't watching. It's funny. I got invited to go skiing Sunday and your gondola ride. Maybe that's the right move just to get out in nature. Dan, you watching the game or you get hooking up with Jared at the aunt's house?
Um, yeah, I'm gonna watch the game. I actually didn't know that was the thing that Bills fans were doing, that like the whole boycott. I don't know, it might not just be Bills fans actually. I think it might be other fans too. But I didn't even know that was a thing until like a day or two ago on Twitter, and I know that was something that you guys mentioned for talking about on this show, and that is so I didn't even realize that was like actually a thing that people. I mean, like, what else am I gonna do on Sunday night? Honestly, like, it's the last football game for 6 months. I'm gonna watch it. Like, the commercials. Yeah, the commercials aren't as good as they used to be. Yeah, we can all agree on that. But it's the Super Bowl. I'll watch.
Yeah, man. Once they got rid of those frogs, it was over. All
Yeah.
right. We
I missed the Bud Bowl.
right? Oh, Puppy Bowl. That's what I'm gonna miss. Um, we did have a very active comment section for our end of the year, and Jared has curated some of the comments from the comment section. So, Jared, what do the people have to say? What do they want to ask us for a
All
change?
right, so we have over 70 comments. We're not going to read all 70. I picked about 6 or 7. We'll see how many we get through here. The number one comment was from Smeen OTU. I don't know really how to pronounce it. I'm sorry. How many rules changes do they have to make so Josh can win a game? Overtime rule, chip ball rule, dot, 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 question mark. Before anybody says something, I want to respond to this. I highly disagree with this comment because I don't rule changes to make Josh win? Are you guys kidding me? The dude's like the best athlete the NFL has ever had. If no one's pulling any punches to try to make this guy have a better advantage. I don't see that at all. Does anybody see that?
I don't see what we were advocating for in terms of rule change. Like we were discussing using technology to enforce the rules that already exist on the books, and that seems like a perfectly legitimate way to change the game. I know Sean's got strong feelings in this regard.
Yeah, I mean, look at baseball, with instant replay or tennis with, multiple camera systems making an AI of the tennis, when because the ball is so fast. I mean, I get it. The NFL is a fast game with holding on every play, with lots and lots of rules. We had that face mask thing in this game that they missed. And like I said, the holding on every play. We get it. There's bodies. We can't see the ball. We have to use technology. Look at baseball. They have something that that the umpire can't see because the ball is flying 100 miles an hour. And guess what? And they go in and they fix it right away with replay. They don't take 10 minutes to review it like the NFL does. They look at it and they fix it. And NFL has actually gone in this direction with instant replay and fixing things as well. Eye in the sky thing. They're changing it immediately. Go right up to New York, especially on a primetime game. That needs to be every single game, and they need to use technology in the ball. Do not tell me we cannot put a tiny ass chip in the ball. That technology is there. It's the size of a grain of rice. I mean, I was telling when we were on before this, we started recording. I was saying, the FIFA World Cup, they have a little thing in the ball now that makes it more springy, the ball. Why can't we change the ball, put something that's barely noticeable as far as weight goes? I mean, grain of a size of a grain of rice. That's small. I mean, you really telling me that the flight path or something else is going to change that much because of a tiny extra increase in weight like that? Give me a break. That's ludicrous. And so, when we have these calls that we have a bunch of bodies or stuff's moving so fast, you can't tell me that doesn't make the game more fair and equitable and whatever else. Like, there's millions and billions of dollars in betting on the line these days, and have not just Bills fans. I mean, I saw Dave Portnoy just saying he's disgusted by this, and more people than that are just disgusted by it, and I'm disgusted by it too. Use technology to make the game better. We get the calls right. And yeah, there's going to be some mistakes. Refs are not full time, and they definitely should be. That should be another thing that's changed. But put a chip in the ball, make the refs full time. We're spending millions and billions of dollars on this game. Get it right, NFL.
Why are we trotting dentists out there? That's such a good point. Dan, you have a strong. We obviously want to change the rules. Was it you that was talking about rule changes?
I honestly I don't even remember. Yeah, I think I if there's an opportunity to advance the technology to make sure that you're gonna get the calls right, then yeah, why wouldn't everyone that watches football want that? I mean, it seems like common sense. I mean, obviously the call that happened in the game was unbelievably close, and in that situation it would have helped. But I think if there was something available, it's worth trying. I do agree.
All right, Jared, next comment.
All right, next one comes from Teamster83, who says, as a Chiefs fan, I love the Bills gave us Mahomes and Worthy, of course, referring to the two draft picks. And I guess my only comment is if we didn't make that Mahomes trade, we probably don't get Allen either. So, but what do you guys, in one sentence or maybe two, what do you guys think about this one?
I don't spend a lot of
Nothing?
time worrying about draft like misses or there's so many players that you could have picked up over the years. It's second guessing the draft is an impossible task to begin with. Dan?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's impossible to really be able to tell, like Josh is our guy now, so there's no saying that if Mahomes was on the Bills or vice versa, if Josh Allen was on the Chiefs, that the Bills would have won Super Bowls and the Chiefs wouldn't. Like, there's no way to be able to tell that. In terms of Worthy versus Coleman, I mean, it's been 1 year, so I mean, I'm not going to look too much into that right away.
Sean?
I want to say this to Chiefs fans. Welcome to being a Patriots fan. That's who you are now. That's what you sound like when you're making comments like that and then the one before that. They don't do you any good. Nobody has any pity for you when you win as much as you do, and you start to be as, condescending as you are to other fan bases. You're not going to get the benefit of the doubt. People are going to start disliking you like they dislike Cowboys fans. I mean, we had enough. You're not America's team anymore. Sorry, Dallas. But here's the thing. If you look at the Patriots and how we had Brady and Belichick, you turn Wes Welker and what's the other slot receiver's name? I can't think of it right now. You turn them into amazing players because you have Brady and Belichick. It's not about a lot of times with who the player is, it's about who's around them. Josh elevates people. Mahomes does the same thing. Worthy gets elevated by Mahomes and having one of the best tight ends of all time around him, having a great defense like they've invested in, having Chris Jones being just an absolute sensation, and we blew it on him as well. But you turn these players into who they are. I've worked with a lot of pro players. they're boys when they get drafted. They're boys, right? And Coleman is very young. He had a serious injury. We knew he played for it. We had another receiver who had another similar injury, required surgery, played through it. Josh had a broken hand from week one. We just didn't have the receiving talent around, and if we did, they were injured more or less. Kincaid had one of his worst years ever. His catchable ball rate was one of the lowest it's ever been. Um, and then, and Josh has got to be better there. And I think that's just been how the offense has changed and being in Brady's system and trying to figure that out along with his broken hand and how he can't do as many draw plays now or design quarterback runs, I mean. So, when it comes to drafting, I do think Coleman will eventually be better, but the Bills need a burner. That's just it. You need a burner receiver that can open up some of these fade plays, and then Coleman needs to get better at separation. He just does. He needs to get bigger in the offseason. He's not as physical as he should be. He's a bit skinnier. He's a taller guy. He's got to put a little mass on, just like Kincaid. And you got to develop these players. And so to say that, like, I get it. By the way, I do agree that that's a bad pick. You can't let your nemesis make that pick. Oh, we're gonna get an extra pick. No, no. Do not let your nemesis do that. And they knew they were gonna do that. Obviously, because he traded on that. So, I don't necessarily think it's all about trading for that and drafting and everything. And so yeah, sorry, I'll cut to that. Sorry.
All right,
All
we
right,
got
Jay.
10 minutes. We got 10 minutes, so we're gonna rapid fire through this. One sentence each for every comment. Seriously, one sentence because we seriously only have 10 minutes. All right, Ryan White, 9437 says, "Dude at the bottom right corner looks like he's living in an old trap house I used to frequent." Dan, any comments?
I don't know. I don't even know what to say about that. I like my house. I mean, he's frequenting a trap house, so
He's willing to talk. Yeah, Dan. It looks like one of my favorite apartments I ever had, if it makes you feel any better.
it
Okay,
does make me feel better.
okay, great. All right, okay, so here we go. Omen Steve O plays games writes, I understand the tech argument. Did none of you see how awful it was in the preseason? And keep it real, if the chip would have been called, we would have, I'm paraphrasing here, if the chip would have been called short, if it would have been calling him short, would we still be having this conversation? So my only reaction to this one is, I don't remember the chip being involved at all in the preseason. Do you guys? You
Uh,
do?
I didn't watch much preseason football.
I,
Sean, do you
I, I do
remember?
know that they did implement it somewhat, but I don't remember hearing anything about it. I would please comment again and let me know how bad it was, or if you have a resource to me
Yeah.
seeing how bad it was. So yeah.
Yeah, Dan, did you hear about this? I didn't hear about it either.
I haven't, but I'm probably not the best source on that. I didn't watch too much preseason, to be honest. But yeah, no, I don't remember hearing anything about it. But it's certainly,
Oh,
I
you know what? I
remember
remember
people
it was
talking
glitchy.
about it in the last couple of
Glitchy.
years.
Yeah. All
It was
right. Well,
glitchy.
I'll keep an eye on it this upcoming preseason, see if it's actually there. Okay. So here's a good one. Here, a Bills Mafia fan getting mad at us. So here's a Bills fan getting mad at us this time. So Bills Mafia 0566 writes, you do realize the turnover on downs on that play was the biggest swing in probability and win probability the entire game, right? Yeah, I do. But the thing is, we had the ball at the end of the game. Josh Allen's driving for the win, and then the Chiefs get the ball back, and no shenanigans really happened there. That's my thought on that. Anybody?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, while he is right, while that is a true statement, like you said, Jared, I mean, they had the ball with 3 minutes left and they didn't get a touchdown. I mean, or a field goal. So, I mean, it's not obviously there were some bad calls in the game, but the Bills didn't lose the game because of the refs. So, I still think that's on the Bills.
I
I'm gonna
totally
blame the
disagree.
refs forever. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the win probability, yes, absolutely. That's a turnover. That's basically like you threw a pick. I disagree.
Uh, Okay. So I'm reading this one because it's the longest comment we got, and I can't believe this person actually said all this. Um, Kilgore Trout 3966 says, I have a physics question for you. How will the chip know the dimensions of the ball, especially when distorted, such as kicking or tight grips? Yeah. Then the yard lines will be a millimeter wide, right? Do you think field lines are perfect and the yellow line is just a general indicator at home? Next, when this thing falls or has to be recalibrated every third play, maybe what you should be thinking is, in that situation, even had he made it, you you real pound a 1 foot gain was all that they could muster. I think the tush push needs to be canned. Page 2. There were once rules about assisting a runner forward at one time as well. This is the age we're in, though, isn't it? If I don't win, it's plainly rigged. Unlike your whole right side D line went off sides and they called for jumping or the twisting face mask on the boundary, lots can play that game, but it's a fool's game. Don't think 31 teams would be down for to make everything go one team's way were it happening. One sentence each.
One times away. Yeah, like Kansas City, right? That's what they
Yeah,
get.
I don't have any specific thoughts on that. I mean, if there's a way to make the calls more accurate, then I'll take it. So I don't know. I don't really have too many thoughts on that.
What are we putting duct tape on these chips? Like you can't just get some good glue. Like we can have technology that has good glue. We can send a freaking spaceship and we can't figure out glue in a ball. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Tennis balls seem to get hit pretty hard, and they could still be used to locate where they hit inbounds or out of bounds. So I don't know if it's a valid argument. But Kilgore Trout, is this Ed Kilgore in his retirement? He like trouts fished and comments on Facebook videos. That's what I'm imagining or hoping.
There was a
So.
guy named Jason Peters who commented like 4 times. I didn't read any of his comments, but I was thinking it might have been the real Jason Peters, but then I quickly figured out it was not.
What is
Okay,
the
we got
real?
two more
There's
comments,
likely multiple real Jason Peters.
probably. All right, we got 2 more comments. They're very similar, but they're going to end this video on a positive note, so I'm going to read both of them.
Yeah.
And so I'll let you both respond after I read both. Ryan Cliff 4988 says, finally, some level-headed fans that don't blame the ref for losses. Allen will win a Super Bowl for the Bills in the future. He's too good. That's one comment. And the final comment goes to Con Game Pro, who says, you fellas are stand-up guys. Not blaming the refs demonstrates your football knowledge and respect for the game. Josh and the Bills had a dream drive in their hands with full timeouts and plenty of time to get into field goal range at minimum, but the play calls and execution on that last drive were just disappointing. And yeah, I think that's where we have some disagree. Well, I think we agree to disagree a little bit. I know, Sean, you're a little bit more into what happened with the fourth down than I think Dan and I are. But I think we all agree that it was clearly a first down and we didn't execute on that last drive. So, and we were called stand-up guys. So, I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Which is funny because we're all sitting down. I just think that we need to get one of the Bills to start dating someone more famous than Taylor Swift. So Ivanka Trump, if there's any of the Bills that are single and you find attractive, please.
God, no.
Yeah, I mean, I just laugh at people that are just like, oh, you blame the refs. Like, yeah, I mean, if you're getting calls wrong that are blatantly obvious, I'm gonna blame you. When I can watch it on an HD screen in a bar and be able to tell right away that you're wrong, yes, I'm gonna be blaming you. Okay, this is not a procedural call or a holding. This is a blatantly obvious first down. Yes, yeah, I'm gonna blame you.
Yeah, shout out to that guy for this kind of feels like around the horn a little bit with like us
Yeah,
four.
yeah.
But yeah, shout out to that guy. I think we are stand-up gentlemen, so we'll keep commenting on our videos.
All right. Well, I think that's going to finish up this episode for Buffalo pregame. If we get thousands and thousands more views, we'll be back to read more of your comments. If not, next season will be here soon enough, and I'm sure it will be the Bills Super Bowl season for real this time. Thank y'all so much for a great season. Otherwise, gentlemen, thank you so much for doing this. And I don't have paper to crumple up, so see you soon.
Come at us, Pats / Kansas City fans, 'cause that's who you are now. Let's go.
On the
No, no, yeah, the video's going to cut out in like a
1
minute.
minute,
That's why I was.
it'll boot us out. Oh, it's been
All
a
right.
long time since COVID. You figure out the rules.